quite a lot. What you can feel him doing is he's offering too much bend. He wants to give too much bend and not give the angle.
On the other side.
On this
right
side.
Yeah.
On the side we've just done. So it just causes the shoulder in to be feels a bit wobbly. Now, a shoulder in weight aid is really easy to keep on a horse that does a really good shoulder in. But while they're learning, the weight aid is the most difficult thing to keep because they're throwing you back to the inside all the time.
Yeah.
So particularly on the right side, it's very difficult to help him with a good weight aid. So don't worry if you don't feel like that's always where it needs to be. As long it's like focusing on your hands, always trying to get them back to neutral when you've applied a correction. But also, just when it feels good, just be aware that your weight is to that outside. If you're correcting too much, don't think about it. But once it's going nicely, think, right, where's my weight? Because eventually that's what's going to be your aid. It's inside leg and weight to the outside and boom, off you go into the shoulders in. Yeah? Right, okay, let's go.
Good boy.
Come on, we've got a little bit longer.
8 o'clock.
Okay. Onto a large circle. Right, so what I'm going to introduce on the circle is a little counter shoulder in. So now I'm thinking about where I'd like the shoulders, and I want them to stay on a large circle. The outside, no, you don't like the leg there. And again, this is just a good way of getting him to accept, bringing the quarters in, without feeling tickly because of the leg. And again, yes, that's where we're going. And quarters in, and good.
So what's the difference between counter bending on the circle and counter shoulder in on the circle? The cross of the legs.
Yeah. So if I was just asking, so say I was preparing a neck rein turn.
Yeah.
And I just wanted the bend. To then get a neck rein turn. His quarters aren't involved at all. Okay? His quarters weren't involved. It was all the shoulders moving around the quarters.
Okay.
So that's a counter bend. Okay? Now, if I want the counter shoulder in, I ask for the bend, but then I bring the quarters in. So again, bringing that's it. Bring the quarters in. That's it. I bring the quarters in. Now doing this in a very large circle, and again really bringing those quarters in, will really help the shoulder in. Trying to keep the weight into the inside. So even though I'm on a left circle, I'm actually working right shoulder in.
Yeah.
Do you get it?
Yeah.
Yeah?
So what's the difference between haunches in and counter quarter in?
And counter shoulder in.
Yeah, that's it.
It's just different terminology. You tend to find the Western people talk about haunches in, haunches out. The classical lot, it's counter shoulder in, shoulder in. But you're riding it. You're riding that exercise by keeping the shoulders where they are on the normal circle, and you're asking
And bringing the quarters in.
Yeah. But obviously, it's the bend. It's a look to the outside. Now, also, when he's on a circle, he doesn't really like to bring the weight to this left shoulder.
No, he hates it.
Keep it there. So doing it this way will promote that as well.
Yeah, it'll help get that shoulder on.
Now, the two exercises will promote that. The counter bend and the neck rein turn will promote it. But also, keeping on a large circle like that in a counter shoulder in develops the coordination. Yeah, and
it's going to develop mine.
It really tunes in right hind left shoulder, right hind left shoulder. You know, you're tuning in that coordination. That's what you need from a for good shoulders in. And again, the shoulder in, whether it's counter or whether it's true, you know what we've been doing on the straight line. It's just the it's the everything exercise. Yeah, it's something that we'll never do away with.
Yeah.
You know, we'll be using the shoulder in to develop the piaffe. And it makes it a very easy process.
Yeah, if you can get that right.
To learn the piaffe. Straightness, getting the hind legs to push equally. It just goes on and on and on. You know?
What are you doing with your body in shoulder in?
On the circle?
On anything?
Right, on the straight line, I'm very slightly thinking, so if I was doing shoulder in to the right, I think about doing shoulders in.
What about your hips?
Staying where they are. What I'm thinking about though most, because my shoulders do that, I will feel that outside hip advance slightly.
Yeah.
But I don't want you to think about that too much, because what it'll do is it'll put a twist in and you'll collapse there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I want you to just think about your shoulders coming in and then sit on your outside seat bone. Your pelvis will have to advance forward. But if you think about your pelvis, yeah, you'll collapse there.
Because I've been getting myself thoroughly confused, thinking I need to try and keep my hips straight, my shoulders moved, where I'm putting my weight, and I've ended up literally like this.
Think about your shoulders, because then thinking about your shoulders, you'll stay tall there. Yeah, think about your pelvis at this level.
And we'll start
and you'll
moving.
Start to collapse.
Yeah.
You'll start doing too much.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas you just want to think about which side of your body you sat on. Yeah. Rather than actually tilting your pelvis.
Yeah.
And if you think about, we always talk a lot about what the outside shoulder's doing, don't we? So if you think about shoulder in, doesn't matter which way, and always think about your outside shoulder coming in. Yeah?
Yeah.
So that'll hopefully just keep your pelvis in a better
in just
position.
doing what it wants.
Yes. Now, in terms of a weight aid now, just to confuse you. So the straight line shoulder in, the weight is very clearly being kept to the outside. When we're on a circle, it doesn't matter what we're asking for, whether it's inside bend, outside bend, counter shoulder in, true shoulder in, traverse, renverse eventually, yeah, the weight is always to the inside. Because you need the weight to the inside to keep your circle.
To keep going round.
Yeah, because if you start doing lateral work with the weight to the outside, you're going to
He'll go out, won't he? Yeah.
It's going to go that way.
Yeah.
So, again, we'll very lightly bend to the outside. And now my outside leg isn't back. It's in the same position that it was for shoulder in. It's forward. And if I don't feel I get a response, I give a little tap with the quarters.
I'm still here.
Okay. So again, it tells you when it's going out, it's too much.
Yeah.
So you just push it a few strides and say, right, okay, yeah, you know him. You know,
Yeah.
You know that already. Yeah. And again, it'll be a good coordination exercise for you to think about the bend to be in the outside, to keep the size of your circle, but also to start talking to those hind legs, get those hind legs in a little bit, and you'll find then your straight line shoulder in will improve, you know, because it's exactly the same aids. You can do the counter shoulder in on the straight line as well, but I just find it's useful sometimes to do it on a large curved line like that. Yeah.
So with your outside leg, when you're asking for that,
Yeah.
are you pretty much on the girth, behind the girth, to ask his quarters in?
Yeah, on this side. Exactly
Hello,
the same.
Norby.
Exactly the same as it would be for a shoulder in if I was doing it along the fence. Yeah. You could argue that it's a couple of an inch further back. It's more or less there for true shoulder in. It's on the girth rather than forward on the go. What we don't want to do is that.
Is to have it back.
Yeah, because we don't want to yield him. We want the aids to be very, very similar. And if you don't find that you're getting a response to, now can you see how lightly he's moving away? Yeah. If I was to exaggerate it, it'd be on, off, on,
Yeah.
off, on, off, on, off. You get into the swing of the movement, and obviously I don't remove it that much. It's just there.
Yeah.
Now, if you don't get when he's moving, walking, a reaction to that lovely light response, you just touch with a whip.
Yeah.
So then eventually it's like you don't need the whip anymore. That light leg aid is absolutely fine. I understand, which he clearly does.
Yeah.
He understands absolutely to move away from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're a good boy.
You see, what we don't want to do. Again, I might as well talk about this while it's on camera.
Yeah, exactly. Hi.
We're schooling him at the moment for half the aids for half pass. Okay? So if you think we're coming around this corner, we've got left bend, and then with that left bend, we're moving diagonally across the school. That's half pass. Okay? So he's understanding that already. Inside leg forward, he's understanding to bend and bring the shoulders in. Then we put this leg back.
And that makes him go over. Okay.
Yeah. So a half pass is shoulder in with that leg, traverse with that leg.
Yeah. Whereas your leg yield is the opposite, isn't it?
Leg
You
yield,
bend
it's
that
just
way.
one leg, isn't it? It's just one isolated leg
Move
when you're
over.
sending them over that way.
Yeah.
And you could even argue that when you yield him, keep your leg in a shoulder in position, because actually you're talking to a shoulder in movement there.
Yeah, you are.
It's not actually a half pass movement. Now, when we start the traverse, we ride at the fence line at an angle. So the way I've been preparing,
like we've been doing the counter shoulder in.
yeah, the way I ride the shoulder in is I put my focus a little bit further forward near the first letter, and my job is the outside shoulder is not hitting that spot. Right, it's the opposite here. Yeah, is I'm going to say now the quarters are just never going to get to the track.
He's like, I want to do shoulder in.
There you go.
Done it.
Sides I've traversed. Yeah?
Smashed it.
Boy.
He's clever boy.
And it's the same as how you prepare a counter shoulder in, but you prepare the counter shoulder in with him in that position.
Yeah, but
With
we're
a
just
very
asking for the
slightly
other
looking
bend.
to the outside, and then the leg is just saying quarters in. But you see, because in a counter shoulder in this way, he's bending. No. He's bending. I know, darling.
He's like, what the fuck?
He's bending to the right.
Yeah.
So that's helping that left shoulder lighten to travel down the track. The reason why traverse is more difficult.
Because we're bent to the left.
The bend is on the shoulder that's opening. And
Get
that's
it.
why traverse, renvers and half pass are the difficult
And more
ones.
harder.
And counter shoulder in and leg yield are the easy
Because the
ones.
weight's already there to fall down the track with.
Yeah.
Ah.
See, so
I wondered what the difference
you're
was.
bending him in the direction that you're travelling.
Mm.
Whereas shoulder in, even though you're travelling that way, you're bending him away
Yeah.
from the direction of travel.
Which is easier.
You're taking the weight off that shoulder that's taking the open stride.
That
Whereas
makes
traverse,
sense.
If you imagine him in being in this position now, and the quarters being in,
Yeah.
very, very good demonstration horse.
He's great, isn't he?
Yeah? But, it's only a very light bend.
Yeah.
I mean, that'd be enough. The quarters are in, so we're doing traverse rein back. Okay, there we go.
He actually did as well.
That'll do him.
No, it's